All right, this next one will be in the key of A again. And one thing that you'll notice when you start learning a bunch of fingerstyle songs is you want to look for a pattern in the right hand, because usually what happens is there will be variations in the right hand, but you want to try to figure out what the pattern is. It'll make learning and playing the song easier. So this pattern will be thumb and fingers 1 and 2 together, not separately. So the pattern would be on the A chord, thumb, 1 and 2 together. So I'm just, you can see my right hand. I'm pulling up at the same time, kind of up and out. I'm not going too deep in with my fingers and then having to pull out and get out of the way. My fingertips are just kind of under the string, and then I'm pulling kind of up and out. Right? So for the A chord, that's the pattern. I'm right. It's the root and third. And for the D chord, root and third, but we have to change strings. See how that got kind of bright? I was trying to talk and play at the same time. So I don't want to overhit the second string with my first finger, which is a tendency because it's a strong finger. But I don't want to compensate and really smack the thin string with my second finger. So again, consistent tone and volume. And the transition to the D. So the pattern is thumb 1 and 2, string in between. I move, thumb 1 and 2, string in between, right? That. So the right hand is just doing that. Okay. And then off the A, we have to get to the E chord. So now we have a little bit of a stretch because I wanted to get this, the third and then the fifth. So now with the right hand, there's not one string in between, but 2. All right. Now notice you can play around with this. See my finger? We're not using it in this pattern. So I'm lightly, this kind of can help you feel more anchored to the guitar, like you're not floating out in space so much with the right hand, is. Now, a lot of my students, they'll get here. I don't think just a lot of my students, I think just, this is just people in general trying to figure out how to do this, is you get here and you feel like, oh yeah, this feels good. I have some connection with the guitar. I can be stationary. I'm going to stay here. And then the right hand starts looking like this, because you're trapped with this finger. So if you're going to touch the guitar and kind of post like that, think about, this is another reason why it's important to not post hard and push in, because I think it's better you can touch. When I move, whatever space, whatever amount you need to move, your third finger can go with you. If I'm touching lightly, I can kind of pivot and roll that finger. I'm not hyperextending and I'm not stuck there. So it can, you can think about doing this. Right here, this is what causes people problems, is sometimes if they're too extended and they try to get to this E, they start opening up their hand in kind of a weird way and you'll start missing things. So if I keep my finger kind of in that same place and I'm just holding it, I'm not pushing in really hard, I can make these moves and not really have to worry about it too much. So let's play through this one, and maybe you can watch the video a couple times and pay attention to what this finger is doing on the right hand and how these fingers are maintaining this movement, okay? So here we go. So we're back to 4/4. Now, that time I played it, and I think I did this the first time too, in measure 6, the last half of measure 6, we need to get from that D to the D7. And I put this in here so you can start to hear the move from a major, like a triad, to bring in the dominant 7, but also to give you some practice with making those transitions. Now this is kind of a classical sounding little piece, but you'll come into these different fingerstyle patterns more frequently than you think, you know, or so what I wanted to do was give you like a really foundation of different right hand patterns that you'll see in different combinations. So if you want to play this like more of a classical piece or a pop song, it doesn't really matter. You can change the feel. And notice too, when I'm going from that D, I'm getting that, I'm not, I'm trying to not let the thumb overpower everything. And I want these, the root and the third on the top, and that flat 7 in the third. I want the same volume each time. Just because I'm changing chords, I don't want to compromise notes, you know, coming in and out and disappearing. So work on those transitions. So right there, this is kind of what we were talking about in the last lesson too. Coming off this E chord, I mute that string a little bit. So when I get to the A, you're not hearing this E ringing through. And it's just more of my right hand, you know, kind of at the knuckle, what I was saying, like coming off the E. I'm driving into the 5th string anyway, so I just bring my thumb back a little bit and kill that thick string, right? It's because otherwise notes are going to bleed into each other. The chords will bleed into each other. See, like that, things start to get kind of muddy. All right, I'll try this again, and maybe a little bit different tempo. And I won't repeat it the 4 times, but. think that time I forgot to go to the D7 because I noticed something that at the faster tempo, I want to remember to say this, at the faster tempo, I can feel my third finger pushing more into the guitar. So as I was playing it, I was kind of just like, oh, I'm starting to dig in. I need to relax that a little so I don't get stuck there. So this is just a common thing that you want to be aware of, is making adjustments in real time. If you feel any of these things starting to happen, trust that it is happening and that you need to be aware of it so you don't feed it and make it worse. So let me try that again, and I'm going to get that D7 this time. And I'm going to work on keeping this third finger that's in contact with the body, not pushing in and overdoing it. So. So that was better. I was more consistent with my right hand. And one thing too is coming off this D. I'm really working to get that consistent. I'm really thinking about how to get in and out of those two chords. And coming off the A one time, I think getting into the D, I felt myself do this with this third finger. So, like, I'm making just a really subtle shift. I know where I need to be, and I'm kind of envisioning my first finger just getting where my second finger was. I'm trying to be quiet. And with my third finger on the second string, you can almost just drag it up. Little things like that will help you maintain contact with the guitar, and it can make for a pretty smooth transition so it sounds less blocky. And this isn't something you realize right away, but you start to figure out how you can, like, you don't have to lift all of these off here to get into that D chord. This third finger is just right there. Just push it through the fret. Okay, I'll try a little slower. Now that time, because it was a slower tempo, I felt like I had pretty good control where I didn't need to go off this A and push into the D. It was just at a faster tempo because I'm more likely to miss something at a faster tempo. So having contact with the guitar, it might be easier to just slide that finger up. It's just something to play around with. Okay, so that is exercise 10. That finishes out lesson 2. Let's look at lesson 3 next. It'll be exercise 11.